Clarus, we provide a comprehensive solution using a customized approach. When you go with Clarus, you're going to have a team of professionals working with you. That team will have a point person. Many of the aspects will be completed, by the individual groups, by the individual professionals, but with one voice to the client.
When I think about Clarus and what really tends to set us apart, I first really concentrate on the people. We really have done a phenomenal job of acquiring the best and the brightest. I know with my experience, I spent 10 years in public accounting. That encompassed both two of the largest local CPA firms in the Southwest, as well as a Big Six firm. And we had great people there. Well, I really like that everyone that I've met at Clarus, in my opinion, we meet those really high standards. We've got certified public accountants, we've got enrolled agents, we have attorneys, we have people that have been doing this for years and years. If I could say one thing, a bit of feedback that I get from my clients and also my prospective clients, it's going to be the businesses that have used, for instance, like a software provider, software seller, and they say, you know what, the software works great until it doesn't. And that's when they tend to run into problems. And I think that that's what sets us apart, is if you run into an issue, you're not dialing a 1-800 number. There's not a help desk where you're going to be talking to one person on Monday and a different person on Tuesday. You're going to have an individual's email. You're going to have an individual's phone number. When you have an issue, you're going to have an account manager that can respond to you quickly, comprehensively, and get to the root of the issue.
At Clarus, it's not uncommon for our team to start off with a compliance project or doing the compliance for the client. And then that turns into other areas. You have an audit. They want to know taxability questions. Those are the types of things that, with our team and a professional services approach, the responsiveness has oftentimes then created other opportunities for us, like even in the technology space, where we then are looking at clients who want to look at our AccuCert product. Mm-hmm. Or they want to expand into our AccuLicense product because, we did sales and use tax compliance so well. They want to now have us take over their business licenses, as an example. And so now we introduce the AccuLicense product. We introduce that same professional services approach to completing the business licenses. And we just keep expanding what we do for that client.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback on that as well. I think you did a great job of mentioning how we can really expand, was the term that you used. We can expand our clients, the services to our clients, and we can eliminate pain points. That's something that I hear from my clients on a regular basis, is that it starts off with, very often it starts off with compliance. It's, I need someone to prepare my tax returns for me and file them. Well, are you aware that we can also handle your remittances? No, I wasn't aware of that. My former provider could not do that for me. Oh yeah, we can take care of your remittances as well. Now, what do you do about your non-taxed sales? Well, if I've got somebody, they give me an exemption certificate, and then I put them in a file, and then I came under an audit recently, and I realized that the certificates, many of them were not invalid. We had never double checked them. Some of them, they claimed an exemption that they were not eligible for. Some of them weren't signed. And that's when I say, well, you know what? We've got AccuCert. We've got a solution for that. This is a pain point that we can alleviate for you. We validate your exemption certificates. We monitor them to make sure that they do not expire. We make sure that everything is buttoned up tight so that on your next audit, all we have to do is give this file to the auditor. He checks the box. We're good to go. If you've got multiple locations, how do you handle those? Well, I've got this huge Excel spreadsheet, and it's just a pain. It's a pain point for me to have to send off all of these, keep up with these permits and these registrations, all of this administrative paperwork. Well, we have a solution for that with our AccuLicense, and it is a very robust, powerful solution at a price that is a true benefit to the client.
Steve mentioned compliance. One of the things that we hear oftentimes too is that because we are not a regulated public accounting firm, we can handle those remittances So not only do when we file the return, we can send out a funding request. That funding request can be then sent to a bank account in which we pay the taxes out of that bank account. Most of your public accounting firms cannot do that, so you end up having to hire two different people, two different firms, for example. You have to hire the public accounting firm to prepare the returns, and you have to hire another firm that will handle the remittances. So that's one of the key elements and differences between us and public accounting firms that is great for our clients.
To me, over the last few years has been the technology.
Yeah.
It's been in 4 short years. I think maybe we were doing AccuLicense, and I mean, we're just dipping our toes in the water, and then we've gone on to AccuCert and Accu, and everything is getting more powerful.
Right. Technology has played a big part of Clarus Partners' growth. It is something that will continue to evolve using things like AI. That is something that Clarus Partners is keenly aware. Not only from the perspective of keeping our technology up to date, but also having that expertise to then pass along to that client on a daily basis. There's a lot of firms that may not have to go through that checks and balances of tax laws and making sure that things are up to your software is up to date. We do. So I think it keeps our professionals up to date with current tax laws. It makes them better professionals. It makes for a better team.
One of the things that I think that makes Clarus stand out is our singular focus. We focus on sales tax, and I think that we decided we want to be the best at that. That's really where we're going to concentrate. And I know from experience, I remember back in my days in public accounting, I saw some firms that ran across issues where they said, you know what, we're not really the best at this. This isn't really our expertise. This is not really that much in our wheelhouse, but we can kind of stumble through this. And that's not who we are. That's not what we do. I've had to turn away work. I'm sure you have as well, Jeff. I've had to turn away clients for particular projects where they say, Steve, you're working with us for this. Can you provide this somewhat complimentary but a bit of a one-off service? And I've had to tell them, well, no, we're only going to work in an area that we feel preeminently confident that we can hit a home run in. And I know that I've seen potential projects cross my desk, and I'm certain with the good, strong people that we have, I know we could have done a reasonably good job with them. But I think the thing about Clarus is that reasonably good enough just isn't really good enough.
At Clarus, we specialize in state and local tax, specifically sales and use tax and business licenses and all the other miscellaneous gross receipts taxes. That's what our people do every day. That's what they live and breathe. And that's what allows us to bring that technical expertise to our clients. I was on a call the other day, and the client said to me that they started to try to work with a local CPA firm and mentioned that it didn't go well because every time they had a specific sales and use tax question in this case, it took them 3 or 4 days to get back to them. In other cases, they said they had to redo the research and provide the answer that way. And he just felt like it wasn't that in their core expertise. And also because it was not in their core expertise, he felt like they didn't care as much. When he heard our approach, he heard that we specialize in this area, that we had multiple people across the country who specialized in individual states. That was something that, being a company that was in multi-states was something that, he was excited about.
In my book of business, in growing and helping me grow the firm, I've developed a lot of relationships with alliance firms. We found that there are many what I call traditional CPA firms that just don't really work that much in sales tax. And I tell them, first off, when I tell them that I'm a CPA as well, I say, I am not, however, your competition. I'm a resource for you. I'm the person that you call when you wind up having an issue, when a client comes to you saying, goodness, I've got a problem. I've got to file in 20 states and I just found out. Or I've got to file sales tax returns in 40 states and I can't stand my software provider that's just selling me a tool. I'll tell a CPA, well, a couple of things. One thing is it has been my experience that there are two types of CPAs in client practice out there. I'm talking about specifically in client practice. One is the CPA that's currently working on a sales tax issue with their client and has an issue in front of them. And then the other one is the CPA that at some point down the road, their client will come to them with a sales tax issue. And when that happens, you basically, I think you've got three different options. You can tell that client, we don't really do this. This isn't really in our ball of wax, so good luck with that, but we just can't help you. Or secondly, you can tell the client, well, we're really not that good at this. I only touch this subject every 6 months or so. So we'll kind of stumble along and figure things out as we go along. Now, granted, since we don't really touch it that much, we're probably not going to provide the highest level of service, and we're probably going to take a longer time. So you're essentially where you land is you're going to wind up being underserviced and overcharged. But the third thing I think that you can tell your client is, you know what? We're not the firm that handles this, but I know the firm that handles this. You can call Clarus. They provide a complimentary service to us. And of course, as a CPA, we're not going to try and steal your clients because we don't do the attest work, we don't do the income tax work. In referring your clients to us, you can wind up still being a hero to your client, even without necessarily being the official service provider.
At Clarus, we have developed a lot of relationships with CPA firms, our alliance partners. We're unique in those arrangements because we provide not only the compliance activities or the consulting activities, but also the technology. I think that makes us a little bit unique in terms of what we are able to bring to those alliance partnerships versus some of the other providers. It's a relationship that's built on collaborative efforts to identify clients, to identify client needs, to identify what they specifically need in terms of our services. It's something that I think our alliance partners really value, the fact that we can not only provide every aspect of handling, state and local tax and sales and use tax, but it's something that we work right alongside them with, in terms of our communication to the client, how we deliver products and services. And it actually, is sort of one of these things where they deliver in the same way. And so I think it makes it be a unique relationship between the two of us.
I will say I've run into multiple situations where you've got a CPA firm has come to me saying, Steve, we're at the 1 yard line. We're ready to onboard this new client, and it's going to be a substantial client for us. We're going to provide federal income tax services. We're going to provide state and local income tax services. We're going to provide attest services. There's an audit. We're going to help them with business consulting. But we're running into an issue. Their prior CPA firm that they've made absolutely the decision to switch. Their prior CPA firm, they handled their sales tax compliance as well and all of their sales tax consulting services. So we're really looking for someone. The issue is that if we're not able to find a solution for this, I don't know that they're not going to continue to look for another firm. So could we perhaps onboard with you? And I say, absolutely. We want to be a resource for you.
We are one of the few firms that, has unclaimed property compliance and consulting in our practice. A lot of firms that specialize in sales and use tax or property tax don't really have any expertise in unclaimed property. That makes us a little different. We have full service operation as it relates to unclaimed property. It's an area where our clients and our alliance partner clients don't have a lot of expertise. And it's an area that oftentimes I get asked questions like, do you know anything about unclaimed property? And I say, no, but I have somebody that knows unclaimed property. So that distinguishes, I think, Clarus Partners from a lot of other competitors.
Absolutely.
One of our products that is inherent, and it was one of the first things that we started doing at Clarus Partners, is where we handled the entire sales and use tax function of a client. They called it outsourcing. I called it co-sourcing because I think that sounds better from a delivery standpoint. In that particular case, and in all our cases, we do a lot of the legwork and provide a lot of the expertise, but we do rely on our client to help us through and navigate some of the issues. There might be an issue where we need resolution with one of the business units of the client, or we need to get information related to an audit. And sometimes we can send out information requests. We can talk to the client or to the person at the business unit, but sometimes they're not as responsive, and we rely on our clients to help us in that matter. So oftentimes when I get a client say, hey, we would like to outsource our sales and use tax, our sales and use tax function to you guys, I often come back and say, we view it as a co-sourcing. We view it as a partnership. We are Clarus Partners. It's in our name.
Even with Wayfair, the Wayfair decision being six plus years down the road now, I've still got prospective clients coming to me saying, I was not aware that I'm in state A and I still have to collect sales tax in states B, C, D, E, and on down the road because I don't have a physical connection to them. And I, of course, have to walk them through this and say, yes, because of the Supreme Court decision in Wayfair in 2018, now you do have to, based upon certain minimum thresholds that are met, you do have to file sales tax returns to collect and remit sales tax in all of these states. And the exposure can be tremendous. I've had clients that have had to write substantial checks. It's one thing to pay sales tax. Everybody pays taxes, right? It's one thing for a business to pay sales tax, but you talk about a real haircut is when you have to pay someone else's tax. And that is exactly what happens when you are not aware of the Nexus standards out there and you fall short.
The Nexus study is oftentimes the starting point for us. It's the starting point for the client. It's the starting point for us. When we come into a company, oftentimes they say, we don't know where we should be filing or what we should be doing. I mean, quite honestly, that's the question. And so for us, the Nexus study is the starting point. Let us figure out where you should be filing. Let us then understand. It allows us to understand your business operations. It allows us to understand where you should be filing. It allows us to then determine what that exposure is, if any. And it really starts the process of putting together a comprehensive plan for sales and use tax. Yeah, if you go out to our website, we have a section there where you can see a map of the United States and the Nexus requirements for each state. So if you hover or click on that state, then a separate page will come up and shows all the details about what creates Nexus for that particular state. So it's not just $100,000 is what creates Nexus. It is, how is that defined? For example, is it gross sales versus net sales, taxable or non-taxable? So it really provides a lot more data and a lot more information to help you at least figure out where to start in terms of where you might have Nexus for sales and use tax purposes.
When we say Clarus Partners, we mean that. That Partners means everything to us. We are not in this to just make a quick buck and move on to the next client. We're in this for the long haul with you, and we want to be your long-term partner.